For us to live and live well, I think it's a continuous process of challenging to go beyond the boundaries. So yesterday when I had the interview and I was asked, how I developed my character or something in my early age. And I said I was in Japan, but I was curious to go out of Japan because I saw some new information that it doesn't exist in Japan, which was mainly from the United States. And I pictured myself, what would it be like? So while I kept on living in Japan, obviously, as a little child and then growing up, I thought I need to get out. One major incident that I recollect is that I'm also playful. So at the time when I was graduating, there's a picture taking stuff going on at my electrical engineering class. And everyone look at the camera to take this nice picture. But 1, 2, 3, and I was pointing in the wrong direction, as if to revolt, that I don't want to be part of that whole progression of this is the way to live, this is what I'm going to do. No, graduation is possibly like that, but also to explore. And for that, I felt some confinement that I wanted to try out. Maybe because I wasn't a good student, and also there's so many bright people. So I goofed off and having good time. And actually that triggered what happened is that my senior high school days, we had this high school connected to the college. And it's automatic, so everybody else would study hard, but we didn't. We studied how to play game, even during the class time. And I often jumped out of the window or back door to get out of the class, in the class when it's session. And I still remember one incident. I was out and I felt, oh, that's great. And there was this person coming at me. He was the teacher. Mr. Honjo, I remember. He was a math teacher. He's kind of like a relaxed kind of guy. And I just passed by as if, I'm going somewhere. He didn't say anything. But that teacher became the principal of the school later. So it is such that that school had such a culture of accommodating kids to kind of enjoy life. It was a great experience. For 3 years, we had about almost 60 people. It's a fairly large class that we go through every subject. So we had fun time. So I'm drifting away from that, structured way and the rigid structure, but trying to get out of it. So maybe that character I developed came from that experience of the high school days, where as everybody else is so busy trying to get to the good college and all that, we just had a great time. And my grade was average, 72 is the point I remember. And only the last quarter, I don't know why I did that. Maybe I get bored, keep continuing the same thing, getting the same grade. This is like a 9 subject, and the score all averaging together turned out to be 72, as if just perfect, continuing. So the last quarter I went up. But there's this guy, Mr. Kenmochi, who is my good friend, and we realized that we had the same 72 all the way through. Unreal. I think he kept the 72 until the end of it. I went to the engineering school and he went to the, commerce, economic-oriented subject that he pursued. Anyway, that is the playfulness, exploratory experience that may have cultivated my character to challenge, not the conventional wisdom, to go beyond in some way or the other. And I still remember, though, not to justify it, but they're smart people and they did good job and everything. But as they graduate from the college and go to a very good company, but they didn't go much further because they were diligent and good in his area of expertise, and that's okay. Well, but that triggers me another thing. I went to the nuclear division of this company called Toshiba, and I was into even the safety analysis of the Fukushima and other nuclear power plant. So that's another story. But I didn't stay there long. But there again, it was interesting exploration. Lots of bright people, but something was missing. And long story short, I was always curious, but that caught management attention. So I got some, how do you call it, nice track to grow in the company. And I was always leaving at the earliest possible time that I could leave the company, whereas many people stay there. So I kept that spirit. I think that's so critical for my growth that I had that exploratory, curious nature to challenge and going beyond the boundary. So, just my experience, not everybody's the same. But one thing I can say in this video is to explore the potential and the way, one way, not the perfect way, but at least for some people, and probably many, is to not be locked in to a certain state and the structure or organization, but experience it. So going abroad at early age, it took so much time before I could finally do it, but I started to do it and moved to the US finally. But, if there's opportunity or create the opportunity, I create the opportunity to go to New Zealand when my father said no, and I followed his, decision. But, use your judgment. There's a good reason to stay or keep going. I had a girlfriend at the time, and also my logic to go over my father was not strong enough, and I took it easy. So, but it turned out that I still, come to New Zealand at the later time, and I'm so glad that I had the curiosity and vision at the time, and I could still manifest that idea. And it could have been the right, well, you can say, but I'm very happy to where I am and what I do and all that kind of stuff. So dream is important. Tenacity is important. Going beyond the boundary is part of the process. And I guess my Zen and other activities in spiritual area too was to stretch out my mind to different dimensions, so to speak. So not for everyone, because we get molded to a certain way in early age. And in my case, it was kind of like that, and I keep doing it. So follow the dream, intuition, and the barriers. I faced many of them, but keep that somewhere, maybe tuck out somewhere, but leave it there. But in the meantime, you do this, but you still maintain the curiosity. So expand that by, reading books, maybe even looking at the YouTube. Whereas some may just stuck into certain category of the internet or the information. It's like a silo syndrome, flexibility. When the world is changing, shifting, the AI and everything, and the political situation, the dynamics is so complex and turbulent, I think that the flexibility is critical element to swim this turbulent place, to find your niche where you fit yourself and still have the antenna going on, as if any animal would be always curious to not just focus on one thing. You do it, but then have time to open up. And for that, this samadhi idea, no mind, no self, is to go beyond the constrained mind, to be open. I was actually eating my breakfast just a while ago, and I saw the fly. It's kind of totally unrelated to this discussion, but not. The fly moving around beautiful and doing his job of cleaning up the lake. And that's what the fly does when they are in the sun and relaxing. And I smashed them, but this guy's at the corner, so I couldn't do anything. I was eating my breakfast. And I felt like I was a fly. I do all this kind of a weird thing. Like maybe children would do that. That, what would it be like to be a fly? And, I didn't still smash him, but I'm going to probably get him, which I don't like to do, but, it's something I exercise this swordsmanship. Anyway, what's the point of the fly? Yeah. They have this state of mind, no mind, and full of intuition. And the way they do is to prepare for the danger and find the opportunity. So it's the same as we are. I'm not saying you should be like fly, but in a way, the spirit of living being has that element. Or the tree has the same thing. Risk and reward and balance out, find the path with the intuition. We have this brain that is on top of this, the living being. They have all the same kind of way of nature, the law of nature manifesting to be alive. That's what the living being does, to go beyond the boundary or difficulties to find opportunity and avoid the danger. And we have that. And that intuitive sense, if we don't have it, we'll get smashed. Even with that, you get smashed at the level of the fly, because they haven't carved out the niche well. In our case, it's up to us. In essence, we have the same composition or the skill or the orientation. Life is the same. And that's what it is. And the risk, reward, and find the path to express where you are. And that's how we evolve. So I hope the message here, also along with this AI coming up, and that could be having a huge impact. So we have to prepare ourselves for the risks, reward, and how to position and watch the path we live, especially young people, and experience varieties of things and go beyond the boundaries. I believe that's what's needed. For older people like me, 77, I can't believe it. Keep that spirit, be aware that you don't get into the trap. I don't mean like a fly has the trap that get hit. Depends on the positioning of the how to do it. It's not easy, but let's think of it as a way that we can strategize too, to make the most of opportunity to do what we really like, but connect to our, finding the path into the future. So this was story this morning, the fly, and also the interview I had yesterday. Let's make the most of it. Thank you.